15 new open-world GAMES. Hey folks, game like here. Lately, it feels like truly satisfying open-world games are rare. Most of the time, we get tossed into some half-baked world, filled with generic scenery, maybe 3 quests, the ability to chop down a tree, and build a basic shack. Then it's basically, all right, go find something to do yourself. It's a lazy trend, no question, but what can you do? Still, believe it or not, some decent open-world games have actually come out recently. Today, I'm gonna tell you about them. Let's get started. Trench Tales. Kicking things off with something different, Trench Tales. This one's slowly crawling its way out of that empty forest with 3 quests category. The devs are definitely putting in the work. It's a fresh indie third-person action game that hit early access back in May. You find yourself in an alternate world where World War I and World War II have collided, mixed up with supernatural horrors. Think zombies and occult stuff. You play as a lone soldier navigating this huge, ruined open world. Your goal is simple. Figure out why you were summoned here, confront the sinister forces that brought you, and eventually find a way back home. Naturally, you'll be blasting enemies with air-authentic weapons and upgrading them along the way. The weapon customization system lets you mod barrels, stocks, scopes, and grips to improve accuracy and stability. Basically, the whole kit. It's still a bit rough around the edges, but it's shaping up nicely and definitely worth checking out in its current state. Dune Awakening. Now, here's a world you can absolutely dive into right now. Dune Awakening. It's a massive online experience, huge world, tons of progression paths, and plenty of PvP action. Sinking a couple hundred hours into Dune. Easy. If you're not familiar beyond the name, let me break it down. First off, there's a solid storyline. Diving into Herbert's universe is genuinely interesting because it's incredibly deep. Secondly, once you create your character and get through the tutorial teaching you the basics, the gameplay splits into 2 main pillars: grind and base building. Base building is straightforward, but the grind sometimes throws you into cool situations. For example, you might be cruising along mining basalt and stumble right into a firefight between NPC factions. Sometimes there's a ship crash event, you actually see a downed shuttle plummeting. You gotta loot it fast because Shai-Hulud, the giant sandworm, shows up to literally eat it whole. There are diverse science complexes, each with its own mini-story, and surprisingly varied locations considering it's mostly desert. Contracts offer fetch quests, deliveries, and kills. Several vehicles, including flying ones, completely change how you experience the game. And once you level up a bit and unlock key skills, the combat really opens up. I could go on, but if you're into survival games, you know you'll face a lot of grind. I'm almost 100 hours in and still not bored. The best part, the Dune devs actually listen to players, making changes that help both newcomers and hardcore endgame players. So jumping in solo right now is totally viable. Chinese Frontiers. How about building your own Great Wall? That's essentially the goal in Chinese Frontiers. But don't get the wrong idea, it's not just about the wall. Think more like medieval dynasty. You need to build up your settlement from scratch, learn to manage it, gather resources, and explore the world. The next step is attracting people to your village to help it grow. Only then do you get to work on the Great Wall itself. It makes sense. You gotta build your community first before tackling a massive project like that. A nice bonus is full Russian language support, so you won't be struggling with Chinese characters just for immersion. Graphically, it looks fairly standard. Where it really shines, though, is optimization. That aspect is excellent. Mechanics-wise, it's still a bit rough, obviously. It is early access, after all, but it's still pretty solid. Bitcraft Online. Okay, this one's a brand new, full-fledged MMORPG. Yeah, I know that phrase sounds intimidating, but trust me, it won't be the last time I say it in this list. So Bitcraft Online. Imagine this. One night in a Swiss village, RuneScape, Valheim, and Animal Crossing got into this deep philosophical debate around a campfire made of pixelated pine logs. They were arguing, can you build a civilization without violence? Just sticks, pickaxes, and a really long tutorial? wine flowed, pixels flew, and by the third toast to their love for procedural generation, Bitcraft was born. Here's the deal. You'll wander meadows, build stuff, haul resources, tame creatures. And then it hits you. Tons of other players are running around doing the exact same thing. It's a semi-AFK grindfest where you can handle real-life tasks while your character crafts or gathers. There's a wide range of professions, NPC-run cities with quests, and all the cozy vibes of a conflict-free MMO. Zero PvP, just pure unchill. Think Albion Online, minus the combat. Total Zen mode. SCUM. Meet SCUM, finally out of early access after a whopping 7 years of development. Now you can sprint naked across its massive world without that early access label haunting you. You're a prisoner dumped on a brutal reality TV island covered in cameras, crawling with puppet-like zombies, and packed with other players itching to take you down. This game nails hardcore survival, hyper-realistic character customization, right down to muscle mass and, package size, crafting, and intense PvP. After all these years, it's packed with mechanics. The metabolism system alone is wild. Overeat fatty food, and your character gains weight, slowing you down. Skip protein, and your muscles atrophy, wrecking your strength. You'll also build bases, drive cars, hunt, fish, and join in-game. Show events like airdrops or producer missions to earn points for perks and gear. Bottom line, it's a blast. If you haven't played it yet, fix that. Lens Island. All right, next up is a totally different survival sim, Lens Island, which just hit full release. It's your classic survival setup in a world hit by a weird apocalypse, spiced up with adventure and combat. There's no heavy-handed story, and honestly, it doesn't need one. Instead, you'll explore a map stitched together from handcrafted chunks, making every world feel unique. Hop between islands by raft or boat, or dive underground through massive cave networks lurking beneath the surface. And here's the kicker. You can build almost anywhere, except combat dungeons and NPC towns. Picture this: mine stone in a cave, whip up a bridge over a chasm, then build a base with a mushroom farm by an underground lake. Throw in teleporters, defense towers, and go wild decorating. Most actions give XP, so naturally there's a full skill tree. You'll upgrade tools and weapons, even enchant them with runes. When you're not farming or fishing barefoot, yep, your hero rocks no shoes, you'll cook meals or prep for dungeon crawls. And those monster battles. That's where all that prep pays off. Bottom line, solid variety, and the best part, it's all playable with up to 8 friends. Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon. I'm replaying the brilliant Tainted Grail, Fall of Avalon right now, this time as a mate. Avalon hits you with a straightforward character creator the moment you press New Game. Human is the only race, but you customize gender, facial features, body type, hairstyle, and more. Your adventure starts behind bars in classic RPG tradition, though it's not quite a prison. You're trapped in a sinister medical facility, where inmates infected with the Red Plague undergo horrific experiments. The doctors observe them, desperate to understand the disease and find a cure. This starting area is your first testing ground. Thoroughly exploring it takes about 2 hours, and it's packed with secrets, memorable characters, and valuable loot that'll give you a solid head start. Then you're unleashed into a massive, breathtaking world begging to be explored, every nook and cranny. It's split into 3 regions. First, the Horns of the South. Compact but incredibly dense. Interesting locations, quests, and mysteries lurk everywhere. Right from the start, you'll spot a towering statue, a colossal wall, and just to the right, a blood-red lake hiding grim secrets. The day-night cycle matters. After dark, the weirdness emerges, twisting local monsters into terrifying abominations. Settlements offer hundreds of quests. The progression system is insanely deep. You could play 5 times and have totally different experiences. Your quest decisions have real weight too, potentially wiping out entire settlements. Honestly, it's legendary. One of the best games this year, hands down. Rooftops Alleys, the parkour game. Next up, something a bit simpler. This is hands down the best parkour simulator out there right now. featuring absolutely massive maps where you'll be pulling off backflips like crazy. Now it's not one seamless open world. It's built around huge, standalone levels. But don't sleep on them. These maps are packed with secrets and hidden paths, making exploration a blast, especially with friends in co-op. You get deep character customization too, and I'm not just talking about outfits or what kind of underwear you wear. You can actually customize your trick animations. If you ever played Mirror's Edge, you'll vibe with this. But where that game had a first-person view and a story woven into the gameplay, here it's pure free-running chaos. Zero plot, just hundreds of wild challenges like do 10 backflips off that skyscraper and land on your head. And yeah, the physics are seriously polished, so pulling off those flips and spins. Ridiculously satisfying. Game of Thrones, Kingsroad. If you're craving a massive open world set in a familiar universe, how about stepping into Westeros? Game of Thrones, Kingsroad, recently launched on PC and mobile, might just scratch that itch. You play as a Tyrell family bastard in the north, fighting to restore your house's honor in a world drowning in political schemes, White Walkers, and dragon lore. The game pulls everything straight from the books show. King's Landing, The Wall, and beyond, all packed into one huge explorable world. Expect co-op quests to climb the political ladder, aid the Night's Watch, and slash through undead hordes. You'll also choose from 3 classes: Knight, Mercenary, or Assassin, each with unique skills. Combat's surprisingly solid too, dodging, parrying, chaining combos. It all feels weighty. Bottom line, it stands out among new releases thanks to its rich lore and free entry. Just brace yourself. The microtransactions are nuts, and the devs aren't rushing to fix them. JDM, Japanese Drift Master. Okay, so this is JDM, Japanese Drift Master. It's the first and only open-world racing game where you get to drift iconic Japanese cars, JDM rides, on actual Japanese-style streets. The whole thing takes place in a fictional prefecture called Guntama, boasting 250 kilometers of roads. You've got everything from winding mountain passes to tight city alleys. As you guessed, it's all about soaking in that Japanese car culture vibe. Drifting corners, tuning your car in garages, and jumping into street races or challenges. Naturally, you gotta earn cash, right? For all those upgrades, engines, suspension, plus visual mods like neon or spoilers, just like the old-school underground scene. Explore the map to find hidden spots. Drifting at night or in the rain scores you extra points. Or hey, maybe you just want to chill after work. Fire this thing up, cruise the mountains, soak in the surprisingly solid visuals, maybe bump some lo-fi beats in your headphones. The physics are arcade style, so it's easy to pick up whether you're a keyboard arrow key driver or someone who craves a bit more realism. Bottom line, it's a seriously good time. Age of Reforging, The Freelands. All right, next up, Age of Reforging, The Freelands. This is a medieval CRPG sandbox offering huge freedom, but honestly, the graphics look pretty rough, kinda like something from the 2000s, and the translation's a bit janky. But since when did graphics ever stop us? We've been overlooking rough edges since San Andreas days, so the translation won't kill us either. It starts off pretty epic. A cutscene shows the goddess of fate freeing a gladiator from slavery, and now he, that's us, has to build an army to crush everything in his path. Verse step. Create your hero. 4 races, human, elf, dwarf, and orc, though they call it something slightly different. And of course, you pick a class. Here's the kicker though, your class directly affects the game's difficulty. Playing an outlaw, that's gonna be brutal. But a regular mercenary, like a heavy warrior, lets you handle fights without sweating too much. Classes also have subclasses, so there's decent depth. It's open world similar to MMORPG. Your party moves across a global map between locations, sometimes bumping into enemy squads or random events. Go beat up mobs, collect loot. There's plenty to do even if the world feels a bit barren at times. Gedonia too. Speaking of barren worlds, you could also head over to Gedonia. I blasted through the first game a couple of weeks ago on vacation and had an absolute blast, even though it was pretty rough around the edges everywhere. Like really rough, but still fun. It gave me Warcraft vibes, but single player. This sequel, Gedonia 2, brings improved graphics, co-op for up to 4 players, and way more detailed character creation, letting you craft dozens of different builds. Plus, unlike the first game, Gedonia 2's open world feels more dynamic. Your choices can actually reshape it, blow up a dam, and part of the map floods, which is pretty cool. Naturally, it keeps the staples: crafting, hundreds of quests, some genuinely funny, building your own house, and all that typical RPG life stuff. There's definitely less content than the first game right now, no doubt, but that'll come with time. The developer seems pretty solid. Rise of the Ronin. Finally, let's talk Rise of the Ronin. A lot of people missed this one. It had a really rough launch, and honestly, most players skipped it because of the mixed reviews. You know how Steam scores can tank sales, even kill a dev studio? Well, this is Team Ninja. That ain't happening. They're one of Japan's oldest studios, with a crazy rich history. They've been making games since 1996, focused on one core thing: gameplay. Graphics, not their strong suit. Story, meh. But gameplay, they nail it. Rise of the Ronin stands out specifically for its combat system, which is the absolute foundation of everything good about the game. The combat revolves around stances, think Nioh or Wolong. But here, different martial arts schools have their own stances, each with unique movesets, special attacks, and finishers. For each main weapon type, there are 9, there are at least 3 stances. And this is the key. Pick a different weapon or stance, and you get a completely different combat experience and approach. That part is incredibly well done. Oh, and thank goodness they finally fixed the optimization. At launch, it was practically unplayable, but now it runs okay. The Quinfall. Honestly, getting good reviews for an MMORPG feels almost impossible these days. Pretty much anything that launches gets trashed immediately. The only one that kinda held up was Throne and Liberty, but half the planet can't even play it on Steam anymore, so people didn't get the chance to trash it too hard. But we're not talking about that, we're talking about the Quinfall. It's a newer open-world MMORPG that first launched about 6 months ago. Back then, I wouldn't have touched it, but over these past 6 months, things are, well, at least heading in the right direction. You get dumped onto a massive map. We're talking 20,000 square kilometers. Besides the usual running around after creating your character, the game throws a ton at you. Gathering, farming, crafting, trade caravans, naval content, dungeons, world bosses, guild versus guild, PvP events. Honestly, the game has a ridiculous amount of things to do. Yeah, the player base isn't huge. There are definitely still bugs and rough edges they'll be fixing for years, but overall, it's actually pretty playable now. And the sheer amount of activities. That part's undeniable. WCHANG, Fallen Feathers. And as a little bonus, a quick word about the upcoming WCHANG, Fallen Feathers. It's not out yet, but we won't have to wait long. Release is literally next week, July 24th. It's a brand new action RPG with some Souls-style elements, all set in China during the Ming Dynasty. A weird feather plague is turning people into monsters. And our protagonist, a woman named Bai Chang, pronounced Bai Chang, is actually cursed by this plague herself, but she uses it to gain supernatural abilities. We'll be playing as her, navigating a huge open world ranging from ancient temples and villages to infected swamps and fortresses, hacking through ugly monsters, bosses, and cultists. It looks absolutely stunning, thanks to Unreal Engine 5, and that applies both to the gorgeous world itself and the bosses, which totally follow those Miyazaki design rules. Sure, on one hand, you could call it just another Souls-like in a sea of them. But in this era where Asian devs are actually making beautiful heroines and doubling down on stylish, action-packed combat. Yeah, I'm totally down for it. All right, folks, that's everything for today. Hope you found something interesting here, and if you did, you know what to do. Smash that like button and hit subscribe.